we are here with the wonderful, amazing, and fabulous Aaron Friedland of Scardust. Your new album, Souls, was released just over 2 months ago. What was your participation writing-wise?
I was in a writing session where we came up with the initial concept for King of Insanity. My biggest contribution was do the arrangement for the little interlude piece in the middle of the album, End of the World. The song itself is something that Noa and Or wrote a long time ago for a production. The production didn't do much with the song. Noa and Or were able to get the song back into their possession. I think Noa had the idea to use it as an interlude piece.
Every song on this album has a very interesting concept. Is there a particular one that you feel means something special for you?
I've kind of talked quite a bit about Touch of Life. That's something that I really relate to. I've been going through this personal journey of tempering my perfectionism. There's definitely a lot of self-reflection in that, for sure, for sure. I mean, the soul's concept kind of lends itself to that self-reflection. I think that's something that happens a lot in our music in general. There's a lot of self-reflection, and it generally leads to more relatable material, more relatable songs, which is why I feel like a lot of our fans really, really get into the music because it's relatable, because you feel stuff from it.
I don't understand people who say it, who don't find it relatable just because it's like too complex. Because I don't feel like the complexity is affecting or even touching the relatability and the catchy moments in any disruptive way.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah, in the end it's all about taste and
Yeah.
and different things can turn other different people off. Like I can say for myself, for instance, that I'm not much of a metalhead. I like very specific bands, very specific types of metal, but most metal I'm not a huge fan of. And one of the things kind of growing up, I've never been a fan of growling, for instance. That's something that's just turned me off of music. And, that means there's a lot of music I didn't really listen to because it had growling in it. And even even hearing Scardust at some point before I joined them, like going to a show and hearing some growling in some of the songs, like they played Queen of Insanity or Out of Strong Came Sweetness, and I remember thinking, I'm not really liking this, And I've grown past that. I can appreciate growling if it's done in good taste now. And I think now that I'm more familiar with Scardust music, obviously, but also other stuff that I hear, like I can appreciate the growling if I feel like it's in good taste. So it's not an immediate turnoff for me now. But I feel like I that whole story was to say that there could be those sorts of elements that kind of turn people off immediately, and then they miss the other more relatable stuff maybe in the music. Like people can be turned off from the complexity of the music sometimes, like different beats, different measures, and then they'll miss that catchy chorus that that'll hook them in. And
yeah.
Well,
I will always be of the opinion that they're allowed to be wrong. Okay, I want to get into a bit more silly stuff as well.
Sure, I like silly.
So, is there a story behind the Bitcoin sticker on your keyboard that's visible in the Dazzling Darkness video?
Not a big story. It's just let's call it a sponsorship.
Oh.
let's call it a personal sponsorship from our very good friend and videographer Lav Levy.
Lahav is a legend.
He is a legend. He gave me this sticker and he's like, just put that sticker on your computer. So I put it on the computer.
on the computer, the
Yep.
the correct computer.
Yep. I have some sticker like this is the our second like this is I used to use my own personal laptop as our kind of gig laptop, and I have a bunch of stickers there from previously. Um, but then we bought this laptop for specifically for the band, so we needed new stickers. So Lav was generous enough to provide appropriate stickers.
Yeah, I love that. And it's such a nice Easter egg how it just shows up in the video for half a second. If you're not paying attention, you miss it. Somehow, when I watched that video, I failed to notice the frames where I show up, but I noticed that one.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
So on Bitcoin, Scardust is now into Bitcoin, and you've also joined this new decentralized social media platform called Noster. How much of a nerd are you about this stuff? Are you involved in it, or are you just
I have to
sitting on
say
the
I'm
sidelines?
I have to say I'm not as involved as I would want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just don't have the time. I That's the main reason. The other reason is that I'm not a huge social media person.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at my social media, I don't do much with my social media. I'll
Yeah.
usually like everything that's been happening more recently is my effort of putting in a bit more effort, for the band's sake. But I'm not a big social media person. And I maybe I should be a bit more you know, for the purposes of promoting Scardust and maybe promoting myself a bit as a musician. I don't know. I've had lots of thoughts about that recently. Um, but yeah, when it comes to the Noster stuff, I'm not as involved as I would want to be. I remember wanting to get more into like development in Bitcoin land
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. Um, I have a very good friend who did that for a while, and I just never it never really took off. So
Yeah. There's only so many things you can do with the hours reserved in a day. It's my
man,
eternal struggle.
the older you get, the more that understanding sinks in. Like like if there were a way to learn that when you were young, like then you benefit the most. Like if you realize that time is probably the most precious resource a person has.
The one that you can't get back.
The
Decades
one that
gone
you
by.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Okay. Another silly thing that my brain picked up on recently and that I'm really curious whether you have thoughts on
Hmm.
is it just hit me that there is the Shadow EP, and then there is the Sands of Time album, and then there is Strangers, and then there
Uh-huh.
is Souls, and all of them start with an S. Is that intentional?
Perhaps. I'm surprised you picked up on that now and not earlier, because yeah, yeah, it's kind of intentional.
Well, when there were only three, it didn't necessarily feel like something that would stick out yet. It was entirely possible that it was coincidental. Three releases, they all happened to start with an S. But now it's the fourth one already. And since Sands of Time, it's also all three albums have been something in plural form. So that's also
Okay,
curious.
okay. I'm not sure if the plural was intentional, but that's interesting because when you pluralize something, you usually add an S to the end. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
What what you can do from now on, if you wanna keep the Easter egg even more subtle, is whenever there's a new EP, it's just singular, and whenever there's an album, it's plural because that's how it's been so far.
Yeah, I think we'll adopt that. I don't know if we're planning on releasing an EP anytime soon. Like we'd rather release a full length album, but if we do release an EP, maybe we should do that.
I've also seen musicians that do things like put out a few EPs that then merge together in an album. It's a way to have more constant releases, so you stay in public consciousness and grip people's attention more frequently, but you still get to have a full album at the end.
Uh-huh.
So, for example, one of my prog metal favorites is the Anne trilogy by Ex Libris, and it's like three-song EPs
Uh-huh.
coming together into a 9-song album after the third EP was released.
And is it cohesive as an album? Like, if you listen to it as an album from beginning to end, does it feel like there's a connection? Like, does it feel good enough as an album as a whole?
I would say it's intentionally pseudo-cohesive because
Uh-huh.
each EP is its own story, separate from the others, but they are tied together by the broader concept of it's a story from history told in 3 songs. And then there's another story from history told in 3 songs, and all of the characters that are portrayed are named some variation of the name Anne.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of an album, there's a line that kind of has a sort of a bow tie that wraps the whole concept together. So it's really nicely done, where each EP can stand as its own release, but also the entire album can stand as its own release.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that could work really well as a concept, like to do that sort of release kind of strategy. I wonder, if they wrote everything in advance and then released it in that way, or if it was just a way to get stuff out while they were still working. Like,
it was 3 different writing, recording, and release cycles.
Yeah. Okay.
Each of them took about half a year.
That makes sense. Like, you want to get stuff out instead of waiting until 9 songs are done, right? So you get 3 songs done, you get them out the door, and then you can work on the next 3 while those 3 are out and attracting listeners.
Yeah. Or you can already start the writing process and thinking about the next songs while you're still in the phases of teasing and showing the artwork, and then releasing the track list and announcing the date for the current piece.
Yeah. And if you already know in advance that this is all tied together, then that adds more to the hype, right? Like you say, we've got this big project that's coming out in parts.
Yeah.
And like, oh, part 2's coming out soon, like I can see how that works.
I feel like it's a brilliant release strategy to please both the old school full album listeners and the low attention span, internet addicted young crowd.
Yeah. Cool.
So now that we're talking about other musicians, we might as well talk about the other musicians that are featured on your album.
Yeah, sure.
So we've spent some time in our previous interview already with Noa and Gal already talking about the orchestras and about Ross Jennings, but we didn't even know at the time that there was going to be a guest feature on Searing Echoes by Ali Storch on violin. So what can you tell me about how that came together?
Honestly, not much. I mean, I'm pretty sure Noa was the one involved in getting in touch with her. And like, they're good friends, Noa and Ali. And there was this thought of having the violin be featured very heavily in the song. It felt like a very strong element that needed to be there. So we reached out to Ali to do the playing on there, and then and she did a wonderful job. She played all the parts. First of all, like, you hear there's like a string quartet there, right? And she played all the different parts, and then on top of that, the crazy electric violin solos throughout the song is also her, and I think it came out very powerful, like really cool.
It's also really coherent with the song because it's probably the darkest and most dramatic song in Scardust history, in my view. And it's got this tension and this almost shocking nature to it and all the unexpected twists and turns. So to have the violin not just be pretty and orchestral like all violins have been on Scardust album so far, but to have it actually get like stormy and distorted is so it's exactly what that song needed.
I agree. It fits perfectly. Like you said, it's a very dark song. Um, it's born out of lots of pain and tragedy. So it fits that, the tempest of emotions that are going on in the song match the energy and the sound that violin brings as well. It's very it's a good fit. It's definitely a good fit.
Right. So since we've gotten to talk about the darkest song on the album and about things going wrong, I have one last question for you before we wrap up this interview. I
Okay.
always leave for the end of the interview the questions that if I don't get an answer to, I struggle to sleep at night. That's usually what my bro says at the end of the interview, but I stole it from him because it's a great one. So the question is, what do you do when things go wrong?
What do you do when things go wrong?
You sing a song.
Oh, you sing a song.
You sing a song? I would have expected you play a song.
Yeah. That's a funny question. I'll tell you a funny story from one of our gigs in abroad, like in I don't even remember where. It was, I think, in Germany. But I'm always trying to improve my workflow and my quality of life when it comes to managing um, our playback project that we use throughout our shows, because we have a playback project. We play with the click track, and we have choir playbacks and string playbacks when we don't have those in our shows most of the time. So, and it's important to get that kind of working in a quick and easy manner, because I also have to manage my keyboard patches, which are in a different project, and make sure that I'm also, connected to the show itself and kind of giving a show and being able to be focused on my playing and stuff. So there's a lot going on in my station during a show. And one time we were playing Eyes of Agony in one of our sets, and I accidentally started playback for Sands of Time instead. And since it starts out in the same measure, like it's 6/8, then I didn't realize the mistake at first. Neither did anybody else.
Wow.
But then at some point, the click track is kind of not doing what you're expecting it to do. Uh, and it's doing weird stuff. Like, we're doing weird stuff where the click track is being normal, because Sands of Time is a pretty normal song where when it comes to measures and stuff. So it was very confusing. And what ended up happening was I just turned off the project. And we played without a click track and without playback for that song, which was mostly fine because there's not really any playback in Eyes of Agony, except for maybe some strings a bit, and there's this growl towards the end of the song that Noah does that's doubled with some playback. So those were missing, but other than that, we were able to get through the song pretty well. And then the real issue was actually connecting it to dials later, because we were playing those connected, and I remember trying to start up the project on the beginning of Dials right as we were finishing Eyes of Agony. And there was a little hiccup, but we were able to kind of connect it to Dials and then continue the song. And it was just this one moment of what do I do when things go wrong? And when you're in the middle of a show and things go wrong, it's it's
It's
a lot of
overwhelming.
pressure. It's a lot of pressure. So that's just one kind of funny story of when things went wrong.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Aaron. It's a pleasure talking to you. You are not only a fantastic musician, but a very articulate and well-spoken person, and always a joy to get to connect with you.
Thank you, Andre. I appreciate your time as well. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and this is fun. It's fun to talk about music and to talk about Stardust and to talk about silly stuff and just to talk. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And to everyone watching, if you stayed all the way till the end, thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed your stay, and we'd love to see you back at the Windmill again very soon. Corpse is out.